welcome to my POA podcast, Black Hand and Beyond. This is episode number 120. Can you believe that? 120 times I've sat in front of this camera and talked to you. It used to be on Tuesday nights. Lately, we've moved it to Wednesday nights, and that's what this show is about tonight. Really, I shouldn't have numbered this show. Maybe this should just be a freebie. We're not going to be here for a long time. I'm calling this the update and review show. We're going to talk about some of the shows we did in the past. And then we're going to talk about some of the things coming up. I have about 8 or 9 shows lined up. And, sometimes I don't know what the next show is going to be. It's just if I have time to sit down and think, and don't watch a TV show or don't read a book, just actually get a notepad out or a computer in front of me and just look at it and think, well, okay, what should we do for the POA podcast? It's like trying to figure out what to eat for dinner every night, right? I have to come up with something. So this year I didn't do as many podcasts as we have some years, but we did more than the one year. But we started it in 2021, not that long ago, 2021, and we've been consistent doing ones. We have certain ones we do all the time, like the baby contest we do every year, and then we do like reviews from the convention or the banquet. The one in February, we'll do a review after that. The Congress, of course, is a big one. Of course, our biggest podcast of the year is coming up. The deadline's right around the corner. I got another stallion or two in today. That is the stallion roster one. And, it's growing so big that we do it on 2 nights. And I have something going on a Wednesday night that week. I actually got to be in the city for something, and I didn't know if I could get back in time. So the last year or so, we've been splitting that into a 2-night episode. Hi, Terry. We got somebody watching finally. So there's Terry, one of our directors from the Midwest, and his stallion will be in the podcast I'm talking about. So the actual podcast date for the stallion roster will be like the 15th and 16th, and that's a Monday and a Tuesday. So it'll be different dates. We will have one podcast before that. We'll have one next Wednesday. So that will be the 10th. We're going to have one about talking about the convention, the banquet. We're trying to make it into a convention again. We'll talk about that more that night. So that'll be next week. We're going to have some special guests. Want to thank Ryan Cate for getting some speakers to come and talk there. And one of those will be a guest next Wednesday, hopefully, if everything goes right. So tomorrow, the NFR starts. That's a big deal in the country, right? So a lot of people go to that. I know a lot of POA people, a lot of friends of mine from Minnesota and Oklahoma, non-POA people, just horse people, Western people, they'll be there live watching. So one of our guests is actually going to be there, Holly Spooner. She'll be there next week. So I got to interview her before she sits down and enjoys that entertainment. So that'll be promptly at 6:30 next week. So, and then we'll take a week off, and then, actually we won't take a week off. It'll be the next 5 days later then. Will be Monday and Tuesday. We'll have half the stallions on Monday and half of them on Tuesday. Hopefully we get 30 stallions and we can do 15 a night. If we only get 15 stallions or so, we'll just probably rock on Tuesday night and do it just one night. But we'll know more next week because the deadline is the 12th. But you can get them in anytime, and we will show the thing here in a minute. So how was everybody's Thanksgiving? Sean's on here now. Sean Smith. Hi, Kent. She says, and Terry. So thanks for joining. Hopefully everybody had a good trip with family or our friends giving like they used to do on the Friends show. So Christmas is right around the corner, and you'll see me sitting here. Usually I try to put my Santa hat on. It gets hot in the studio, or otherwise I'd wear a cowboy hat. But I put my little Santa hat on if you've never seen one of the Stallion episodes, because it's always the last episode before the new year. So again, this will be the 5th annual one for that. So, and then that will be our last one for 2025. Hard to believe the year's almost over. Went fast like they all do. I say, the older you get, just the seasons fly by, the years fly by, it seems like. So then next year, 2026, I have episode 123 will be January 7th. That's going to be a conversation with David Spencer. You won't want to miss that one. David Spencer's probably one of the most knowledgeable horse people I know. And, we'll probably chat as long as we can. That's going to be a little longer one compared to this one. This one's going to be, a half an hour maybe. That one's going to probably be 2 hours. So you're going to want to buckle in for that, and you're going to learn some stuff. I guarantee you I'll learn some stuff, and we'll all learn some stuff from David that night. He's got such a tremendous history in the horse industry. So that will be January 7th, like I say, episode 123. Some of these are a work in progress. That one's set in stone. But the next one will probably be January 14th, episode 124. I want to do one about the stallion poster. If you guys seen somebody had one for sale a while back, the office still has them. Hi, Dan from Montana. They have them up for sale in Indianapolis, and I should have put one up on the screen, but some of them are green backgrounds, most of them are black and white. It's a pencil sketch basically, and it's got a bunch of stallions on there. Well, I decided to do an episode about it because you still can buy them in the office, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about each stallion, just a brief history. That show will probably be an hour, hour and a half, because we'll spend 10 minutes or so on each one. So that should be episode 124. Episode 125 is going to be a cool one if I can pull it together. It'll be January 21st. I may need a little more time for this, so it may slip down in the schedule, but you guys all seen that video that was going around. I think Doreen shared it, and then I shared it to all kinds of POA platforms, and it's got so many thousands of views, and that is the To Tell the Truth one. And I'm going to call that one, Will the Real Amanda Cobb Stand Up? Because that's what they say. And then the girl in the middle, I'm sure you all seen this video. It's been floating around social media and TikTok and Reels and stuff. The one in the middle actually became a famous actress, Cynthia Nixon. But she wasn't the POA girl. The girl on the right was. If I could interview all three of those, hopefully all three of those girls are alive. They're all ladies now, of course, older than me. That was in 1973, so I was a year old when that episode aired. And I do have pictures of the horse they're talking about. He wasn't a gelding. It is a mare. It's actually an MP's mare. And I have a picture of the win in the ring that was taking the picture when she's in the ring winning the walk trot class. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google Amanda Cobb and To Tell the Truth, and it'll pop up. You'll see it. So. And then, of course, we always interview the high point person in the nation. So that'll be in end of January or February. February 4th, that episode is set in stone. That'll be episode 127. That is the BCF. We highlight the stallions that are going to be in their auction for the Breeders' Challenge Futurity. Of course, that's held in conjunction with the International and Select Sire Futurity lately every year. So, and their auction's actually going to be February 7th, a Saturday in Ames, Iowa. You can find more information about that on social media. And of course, Terry Thorson, who's one of our good listeners on here and has been a guest many times, he is the president of the BCF, the Breeders' Challenge for Charity. So he will be a guest that night, and that'll be just 3 nights before that. So you'll get to see all of them up close on this. We'll talk about the stallions, talk about kind of how the things work with that deal and their traditions. We've been doing that quite a while too. Charlie has been on here at least once talking about it, past president Charlie Phillips, and Terry was on here actually this year in 2025 talking about it. So this will be about the 3rd or 4th time that we've advertised their auction. So, and then I got to go to the judges seminar right before that in Tulsa. You go every 3 years if you're a POA carded judge, and that's with the color breed. So that, luckily for me, it's in Tulsa. This year it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it's a lot nicer than a Monday like it used to be, like a Monday all the way through Thursday. And so I'm due to go there, plus now as a director and stuff, and I'm on the committee, the judges committee. So Pat Burton is the chair of that, and I'm on that committee, so I'm sure I may talk a little bit or something at the POA session too, which isn't until like 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock Sunday night. So we're the last one. Pat said the POA portion of that is one of the most attended ones, and when I was there, it definitely was. I attended most of the breed seminars for sure. The Appaloosa, Paint, Palominos, and POA had a lot of judges attend it, so that's cool. And I'm sure we'll be talking about some of the changes we've made lately with more training and stuff, and that you have to pay the horse IQ, but in the long run, I know it's hard for some of the little areas and little regions and stuff, but in state clubs, but in the long run, we're going to get our judges pool a little stronger and a little better. So we always got to keep striding for that, of course. So then in February, probably right after the banquet convention, we'll be having a review show on that. So that'll be towards the end of February. So I'm out January and February for things to do. If any of you guys that are watching this want to contact me, my phone number's on Facebook. You can get a hold of me on private message, instant message, whatever. You can email me. All my stuff's out there. You call the dealership if you have to. Google Jacksons of Enid and just ask for Kent. And I was going to say ask for the number one salesman, but I better not do that because I don't think I was this year. I think I was number 2. But I've been here 13 years. We are in Studio J. Tonight I want to give a shout out to Shane Jackson for, if you noticed, the new logo that Montana Krogman did for us. Tonight's the first show ever with that, and he did that today. Shane put that on the Stream Deck for me, and I keep pointing over there because that's where the Stream Deck is. That's where you go to different scenes. Like right now, if I want to go to the screen that's up there, I got YouTube up right now with some of our old videos. And then if I want to add me in the corner over here, that's all in the Stream Deck. And then if I want to push the intro up top, it'll play that song, My Pony and Me, a clip of it, and it'll have our brand new logo. So that's pretty cool. So again, I want to thank Shane and the family, Jacksons of Enid, for providing this beautiful studio for us, and we get to come in here almost every week. It's hard to do 50 shows a year or 52 shows a year. And now starting in January 2nd, if you guys are interested in just listening to my voice and listening to some humor and some learning about cars, we're going to have a podcast Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday because I'm off on Wednesdays. Of course, I'm not going to do it on the weekends, but it's going to be called The Drive. It's something I created. It's about selling cars for Jacksons, promoting this dealership, promoting vehicles, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and currently we have 17 pre-owned models out there, different brands. When I say models, I mean makes. Basically, Lincoln, Mitsubishi, Subaru, of course, then all your basics, your Buick, Chevy, Ford, all your off brands that are not Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram that we sell brand new. So that's pretty cool for a little store like us to have that many vehicles. So this is going to have guests. I'm going to actually have more cameras set up, so it'll help our POA podcast too. It'll help Black Hand and Beyond because I cleaned up in here this week. Sometimes we'll use this little area for a storage room too because you don't see the boxes and the t-shirts and stuff on the side, but we actually have a nice couch over here, and we have a chair over there to interview people, and I'll have like 3 or 4 cameras going and all kinds of stuff. So that'll help when we do our POA podcast. The studio be equipped that much better again. So if you, like I say, if you want to tune in, I'm going to tell some dad jokes or bad jokes, like some quick one-hitters, like why do cows wear bells because their horns don't work or something like that. Probably won't tell that one, but stuff like that. And then I'm going to try to tell some funny jokes too, some really nice, good jokes, and hopefully people laugh. Hopefully we sell some cars. We're going to have people from Jackson's here, different coworkers of mine here. Some of the Jackson's family members will appear once in a while. I know 7:30 in the morning is going to be early, but it's going to be like a morning drive show is how it's going to be set up. And we'll probably play a little bit of trivia and stuff and interview people. And we'll have people from the community too. So business owners and stuff like that, and people in the community, volunteers and people, past customers, anybody that wants to come on. So if you guys are interested in that, that is going to air in this studio here in January 2nd. So, and I probably will give a shout out to POAs once in a while too. I'm going to have quite a few sponsors lined up. So Da Vinci's, which is a coffee house here in Enid, they have 3 locations. Vitruvian, which is the maker of the coffee for Da Vinci's, and they sell it too to other people. So that's Vitruvian coffee, really good coffee. I drink it literally every day. And then I don't know if that's a good selling point, but I don't have many wrinkles yet, so maybe that's helping. And there's a couple other businesses too. The Flamingo, it's a bar here in town, and a family-friendly bar. They got good food, great hamburgers and baskets and stuff like that. And Cafe Valere has got some of the best food in Enid, so that's going to be some of our sponsors. So, and then of course Jackson's Auto Family, Jackson's of Enid, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. They also sell Chevy and GMC down in Kingfisher, 45 miles away. That's the birthplace of Sam Walton. If you didn't know that, was born 45 miles from where I'm sitting right now. And then he moved, his location to Bentonville, his business, Walmart, but that's still the world headquarters, I believe, is Bentonville, just across the border. But anyway, that's kind of cool. So getting back to POA stuff, so I'm going to put the one screen I was just showing off here. Hi, Dean. Dean Damon is here. Dean, you need to get your stallions in for the stallion deal. You're usually, every year, you got a couple to three good stallions down there. How many you own? They're all good, I think. So, or you wouldn't be the number one breeder of national champions, right? So we're looking at the screen now, and this is the review section. You know, if you tuned in, some of the ones are not on. Some of the podcasts that are on Facebook fell off Facebook before we could get them. Next week, we're going to try to, as soon as the episode's over, because it's going to be a big, important episode next week, and it's going to be promoting if anything, what this show is about is promoting POA. Some people think it's just stuck about history and stuff like that, stuck in the past. And let me get big screen again. It's definitely not that. That's why it's called Black Hand and Beyond. I mean, I actually had debate, people on here that asked questions about running for the directors. So I guess a survey was out a few months ago or maybe, I don't know, a month or so ago. And one of the big things on the survey, the response from the membership was they don't know the directors. Well, like on our podcast, we had 3 of the candidates on. All 5 were invited, but only 3 accepted. And all 3 of those ended up winning too. But, they all got the same questions asked. So we do a lot more than just history and talking about how many spots Black Hand has or had, when he was born in 1954. We talk about 2026, promoting the banquet coming up, which I want to call the convention again eventually, promoting the BCF, promoting the Congress, promoting posters that are for sale in the office, and then just people promote, try to get people in POAs, we're always selling POAs. We got to sell the POAC, because it's a very good product. It should be easy to sell. It is tough to sell anything. I know I've been in sales for a long time now, but when you have a good product, it's easier to sell. We definitely have a great product. We just, always got to keep it in front of people. And it's hard when you have stuff going on in your daily life. None of us do this for a living. But I think for the most part, almost all the members that are out doing things promote. So that's a cool deal. So episode 118, that was about the LVO ponies. If you remember that was a good episode. Cliff and Joan Thomas was on here. That was one of my favorite episodes. And then, over this last year, the Chestnut Farms was a good one. David Wood, Copper Sundance, It's Your Birthday. If you guys remember that one, we had it right on his birthday, I believe, or the week of his birthday. And he was born in 1985. And the dude's still going, 40 years old. So there's the Congress Review show, Rutledge's POAs. There's the 15 for 5, 15 questions for 5 candidates. And that was a well-watched episode. These are how they were watched on YouTube. And I'm just not promoting YouTube as good as I should be. I just don't have enough time. I need to, clone myself so I can do more. When I retire someday, if I ever get to retire, that would be cool. Then I could do way more for POA than I do now. But a lot of my time is spent doing POA stuff, believe me, in my spare time for somebody that doesn't own any POAs. Today I took the day off of doing POA stuff except for getting this show ready and then actually being live on here for a half an hour or so. But I actually read a book today about Matlock Rose. So I read the whole book today, started early this morning, and I got it done right before I was about 10 minutes late getting back to the dealership to get this going because I wanted to finish. I was on the last chapter, and what a cool book. The beginning drug a little bit because it was talking about his life growing up and stuff, and I'm more interested in, what he did with horses in the cutting industry and all the other stuff he did with horses. Just a talented man, and he had such a drive and determination to be the best. And then, of course, I knew most of the horses. I did learn quite a bit of stuff, about some things. I didn't realize he owned one famous horse that he did in there, Mr. Impressive. He didn't have him very long, and that he got in trouble once and was suspended for a minute from the quarter horse, but then he got a lawyer and got back in. It was kind of a misunderstanding. But if you get a chance to check it out, it's called Matlock Rose, something Horseman, I think, or something like that. The back cover is the Orrin Mixer painting of him and Pepinita, and that was always one of my favorites growing up. I never got to see him in person, but I always seeing that Orrin Mixer painting and the live pictures of him in the Quarter Horse Journal almost every month. Just a beautiful black stallion, and he made a big mark in quarter horses, of course, and was a world champion many, many times. So that's what I did today. Not that you want to know that, but that's what I did. So, but scrolling through here, like I say, kind of celebrating 120 episodes. We've come up with some unique ones, and some are pretty generic, like tonight, just an update and a review show. But we've talked about the Hall of Fame many times. Siri Chiefs Heritage. I may do one of them again sometime when I can get some more experts on about it. The one with Bob Roseland was a very good episode. I think that was earlier this year about the Wieskamp horses. Yeah, there it is. Episode 99, the Wieskamp Impact. It was loaded on here on March 18th, so I don't remember the exact date it was on Facebook. But anyway, I thought that was a great episode because Bob Roseland is an expert. Like I'm a historian in POAs. He's a historian of the Wieskamp program, so probably the preeminent one or one of them in the world. So, and we had a lot of pictures. That was a cool episode. Lannon's, I grew up liking the Lannon POAs. I was really upset when I did research for a couple years ago trying to do an episode on Lannon's, and I found out Jack Lannon had died in like 2016 or something like that. I'm like, all these years, I've known about the guy since 1982, and here he was alive living in Arizona in a retirement home. He loved golf. So when he retired from Nebraska and moved to Arizona, he played golf still a lot in his senior years. And, I could have talked to the guy many times maybe about POAs, and I never got the chance. So just remember that. We got to, we lost a lot of cool POA people, some of our really foundation people in 18. It was just tragic how they were all older age people and been in POAs 50, 60 years, most of them, but we lost them all within about a year, and some huge breeders. And fortunately on this show, I've been lucky enough to interview people like David Morris and Larry Myers, and they passed away not long after I interviewed them. So them are recorded now. Hopefully they're on YouTube, because Facebook has changed their rules now and starting to get kind of crappy and get rid of the videos. I don't like that, but if we can save them on YouTube, sometimes that glitches and it ain't quite in the right order. It's titled wrong. The episode don't match the title, but I'll clean that up eventually. So, this is just for posterity and for history, but it's also to promote too. Both of those men were such great promoters of POAs. So, all right, let's talk about not next week's episode. That's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss it. It's about the upcoming banquet and the convention, and the form should be out pretty soon. If you can get to Dubuque, if you can swing it, please come to Dubuque. Just hang out. Even if you didn't show, if you just love POAs, one of the big things there is the awards banquet for people that showed, and POA puts on a great banquet. They have for years, and there's a meal and everything. Of course, there's a little cost involved there, but just the camaraderie and hanging out with the people, and the banquet room's always full of POA people. You can't believe all the people that show up, and then now this coming year, 2026, that banquet, again, thanks to Ryan, we're going to have a couple speakers, so that's good, and maybe eventually we can turn it back into a convention, that started in like 1988 or whatever. The Hall of Fame is still there, and I think there's going to be some nominated hopefully this year. I know there was some POAs nominated. Hopefully some make the cut and make it in, so those will be awarded. Last year we had, or when I say last year, I mean for 2025, we had some cool people now, get in the Hall of Fame and horses, so that was good, and that's always fun to see. So if you can come to Dubuque, it's a beautiful little city. It's down in the old part of town. It's been restored. It's such a cool district right in there. The hotel is just cool. Darren Schaefer did a good job of finding that hotel and booking that and everything 2 years ago, for 2 years ago, and now this will be the second year. So February 25, now February 26. The mayor came and talked to us and everything. Cool ice cream shop there. There's several of them, but there's some boutiques and stuff. It's just a cool town. It is cold. That's not Dubuque's fault. I mean, it is, but it's February. It was cold in Oklahoma the morning I left to head the day before the national meeting. It was 9 below, which is very cold. in Oklahoma and Kansas. When I crossed the border into Kansas, it flipped to 8 below, and then it finally got above 0 by the time I got to Iowa, which was backwards. The further I went north, the warmer it got, and that was weird, but it was warming up during the day too, of course, with the sun. So again, if you can make it to the banquet, you don't have to bring any ponies there. You can just come and be happy, drink, be merry, eat, talk about POAs, do a little promoting of your own, promote your horses if you have some for sale, got some babies on the way or a stallion you want to promote, and just kick back and talk to people. Sometimes it's hard to do that at a show, right? I mean, at a show or a sale, you're competing and you got to get your horses ready, and at the futurity, again, you're competing. It's even more tense at the futurity because, you know, some of those classes are huge, and then it's for money. That little check might help pay the feed bill a little bit for part of the winter, you know, so it's at the banquet, it's just all relaxed, kumbaya, sit there and talk to your people. If you want to meet the directors, we all have to be there. So we're all there, and you can come up to us. We're all accessible. Just come on up and bend our ear, and we don't mind that at all. And like I say, if you can get there, try to get there. You can room with people. You can ride share with people. And there's always people usually available to help you out to help do that. So Terry's saying something there. We have a couple proposals to be voted on and members present. Yeah, that's right. There's also a membership meeting. So thanks, Terry. Terry's one of our newest board members. He's also the person I mentioned earlier, the BCF president. Yeah, the membership meeting's there, and that is you. That's you. You guys can get up and talk as much as a director can talk, or the president or vice president or secretary treasurer. You have that day at that time, you can get up and have the floor and say, you know, what are you doing about this? What are you doing about that? And there will be some proposals and stuff, and the membership can vote on stuff, certain things that day. And then you can come to the board meeting, which is usually the day before. The board meeting will be Friday, I believe. So most people will be getting in Thursday night. The directors and stuff get in Thursday night. And then the stallion auction for the select sire is usually Friday night, and then Saturday night is the Hall of Fame and the banquet for the awards for all the kids and exhibitors, adults, and everybody that showed, and all the horses, and they have a nice slideshow. So it's just a good thing. If you can swing it, I get it. You know, things are getting tougher all the time, and you got plans to go showing. But if you can swing going to Dubuque for a night or two in February, look it up on, here it is right here. Look it up on poac.org and then events, and it's right there. When you go to events, the 2026 National Banquet, February 20th through February 21st. So they got it condensed to 2 days, and the board meeting is on Friday, and then 6 p.m. is the auction and mixer. So that's the select sire stallions auction. So if you one of the stallions want to bid on them, that's the time to do it. Saturday morning, you can do your own thing. But now what's not on there yet is the two speakers, the two very professional, great speakers. Is going to be, I can't wait to listen to them. That'll be on Saturday. And then 1 o'clock's the general membership meeting. And then there you go, 5:30, some cocktails if you desire. And then at 6 o'clock, the dinner. And at 7, you start watching all the clapping. You start doing, let's see, where's it at? You start doing that for all the kiddos that won, and all the horses and all the adults that showed all year and won their high points. So again, it's a cool deal. If you can get there, go ahead. So that'll be next week. We'll be talking about that a lot more next week, and we're going to have at least one cool guest next week live on the phone. We may have up to 3 or 4, so it's going to be a cool show next week. And then the all-important stallion roster, that's a sponsored show. I should mention next week is sponsored by Bruns Performance Horses from Iowa. They're one of our great sponsors. They've sponsored for many years. Sammy Bruns does a great job showing for people and herself. She gets them ready. She knows how to present them. Of course, she's a legacy or, alumni in POA. I call it heritage member. People that grew up in POA. Not only did she grow up, her mom and aunt grew up in POA, so 4th generation with her kids. And then, the stallion roster. We don't need sponsors for that because the stallion owners sponsor. So we're going to show that right now. Let's go over to that, and let's go back to, see, there's my stream deck. Let's get my big head out of the way. So if you own a stallion and you want him to be a part of the stallion roster on December 15th and 16th, as it says there, the deadline is the 12th, 12/12/25. And people will probably be getting married that day, huh? 12/12/25. And anyway, just send it in. We'd take Venmo, please, and you get up to 5 pictures. And when I say pictures, you don't have to have just one picture. Some people put a collage. It's 5 images, and then you get the pedigree on there too. And I talk, for a couple minutes or so, try to even it up. I have a timer. One year I even had a producer in there. My wife was the producer, holding her fingers up doing this, but I found that just made me more nervous. So I just have my clock set over here, and I try to keep it as even as I can for all the 20-some stallions or 30-some stallions that are on here. So questions about that? If your horse has been gilded but you still have frozen semen, be my guest. As long as you have semen, available, you can. If you want to promote him. Or if the stallion died and you have frozen semen still, that's fine too. You still can have pictures of him or his git, whatever you want for pictures. Again, up to 5 and his pedigree, and I'll talk about him for, like I said, and then you have your information on the sheet here. Hopefully you can see the sheet good enough, and you can just send this in to me. You can either instant message it or you can email it to me. It doesn't matter either way. And then, like I say, it's $50 to be in that. And there's some people that's done it every year. There's certain people, and I'll talk about it that night when we do it. There's people that's had their stallion in there from the beginning, and this is the fifth annual stallion roster. I'm proud of this episode because it gets thousands of views, this episode, every year. So talk about promotion. This is a strong, so the better pictures you send in, and they're always good stallions on there. They might not all be equal, of course, but they're all good stallions. They're all people trying to promote their horse. Some of them are at different stages of life. Some are halter horses, some are performance, some are young, never had a foal, some are legends in this breed. So it's just a cool episode, and I hope you can be part of it. And like I say, horses can be in it too, quarter horse, Appaloosa. So if you know somebody that wants to kind of break into POAs, this would be a good way to do it. Or if you just purchased a stallion or recently moved a stallion to a stallion farm or to a station, a veterinary place or whatever to collect them or something, and you want to show off your stallion or reintroduce him, maybe he was a famous one and now you haven't been out and about for a while, this is a great place to do it. And again, that'll be episode 122, hopefully part A and part B. Part A will be Monday night, the 15th, and then the second part B, will be Tuesday night, both at 6:30, like all these podcasts. Well, it's 7:03. I hope I didn't bore people too much tonight. Hopefully we still did what we tried to do. We tried to promote. We have Black Hand, the Briar back there. That's getting addicting. That's what I get for Christmas now. And a lot of people just send me Briars out of the blue. I'm trying to get the horse ones, not so, the traditional ones, but actually ones that were horses, like Quo Vadis, the mare. I'm trying to get her and different, how I am. I like pedigrees. So if I could find Pepinita or something like that, ones that really exist. There's some POA members that know a lot about Briars. So we're probably going to have another Briar episode. We had one once with Ella last year, but we'll probably have even a bigger in-depth one now that I'm starting to collect them. I have about 24 or 5 now, and I'm still missing, I think, 1 POA. But Black Hand's back there talking into the microphone, so that's one of my backdrops. And speaking of backdrops, again, this was the first episode ever with the new backdrop that Montana created for us. So thanks again to her, and that'll be a trivia question someday. Episode 120 of Black Hand and Beyond was the night we used the third generation of it. So we started out with the one I created, then we went to the one David Brewer surprised me with, and that was cool. He just sent it to me and I liked it, so I used it for 100 and some episodes. And now tonight we're using this one, so you're gonna see it in a minute along with the song clip of My Pony and Me. So thank you everybody for watching. We need some sponsors for some of these cool episodes coming up in January. Just contact me about being a sponsor. So we only need one more next week to go with Bruns Performance Horses. If nobody sponsors, that's fine. At least we have one. But then these cool episodes coming up in January. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 or 9 stacked already. Hopefully I don't have to take a week off, even with I'll be busy going to the judges seminar for 3 days, and in Tulsa I'll be gone, and then I'll be in Dubuque, Iowa, like a lot of you will be, for 3 or 4 days up there. So, but I still think I can tie in episodes with all that going on. So, okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. If you ever have any questions about the podcast, just contact me. If you have ideas or concerns, thoughts, comments, want to be on here as a guest, have a whole show idea. I've actually done some shows because of that. People asked me to do it, and we've done them. So just contact me. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great night. Enjoy the song.
My BFF is a BOA. We go together like PB and J. It takes talent and it takes brains. Stitching us together with a set of brains. Don't get down, we just saddle up. Set out to win a ribbon, but the more run up. Our living partners and potentiality. My pony and me.
Come join the family.